All right, it's time to come back with another great episode of Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show. Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show is a series of melanated conversations focused on improving our situation financially, politically, socially. And today we have with us the good brother, the good Sigma brother, I might add, not mad, I might add, Will Mingo. And we have Queen Taniki, who's with us again today. Good to see you, Queen.
Good to see you too,
All right.
Kings. Thank you for having me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I don't want to take up a lot of time just giving you a lot of laudatory statements. I really want to hear your story, Will. You know, you're a serial entrepreneur. You know, you've been involved with restaurants, junk removal, real estate, financing. Man, you run the whole gamut. So what we want people to do is to walk away from this stream empowered somehow. So let's start off, man. How did you get involved in business?
Well, as an entrepreneur, I started my career fresh out of college. I graduated from Clark Atlanta University in the early 90s. And when I started corporately, a number of folks, that kind of was the end of the, your mom and dad working 30 years at Prudential, IBM, et cetera. So a lot of the folks that I was engaged with as I started my corporate career were being displaced, and they, really had, challenges staying, financially, in position to take care of their families. And so I made a pledge to myself, that wouldn't happen to me. So, I wasn't going to be in a position, as with all of the education I had and, but going into corporate, I wasn't going to be subject to, the for sale sign going out in front of my house if I got a pink slip. And so, while I've, remained in corporate America for, a quarter century, I always engaged in, entrepreneurial activities, most prominently real estate, to ensure that, I planted seeds to grow and ensure that my family would be in position for me to leave something behind and, never be challenged simply because I didn't have a corporate payroll check coming in.
Wow. So you know how to get the bag on the corporate end and through entrepreneurialism. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, like I said, man, I know that you've been involved in junk removal and restaurants, but you started in real estate, like you just said. How did you start in real estate?
So in my corporate career, I was fortunate to do really well, really early. And, this is in the mid 90s. There was a lot of opportunity. I'm from Harlem and lived in northern New Jersey and got exposure and visibility. One of my good friends was a real estate appraiser and introduced me to a number of, great real estate opportunities. And so I just started investing, through, my relationship with my partner. I established relationships with a number of different REO departments at banks and a number of realtors that focused on real estate owned properties and got properties with tremendous equity value in them at, well below market prices. And, I went out and established relationships with contractors and, really, I started small and, before you knew it, I at any point always had 6 to 8 real estate projects underway at any time. And, this was in the early, the mid to late 90s. And after that, I continued to grow and cultivate that. I moved into, always had an interest in financial services. So from the real estate business and, having done really well there, my wife and I, invested, I was still focused and I really ascended to some great leadership positions in the Fortune 500. So I did that. My wife focused a lot more time and energy into our entrepreneurial endeavors. So we moved into the check cashing business chain of real check cashing stores, and we also owned the real estate that those businesses operated out of. And then we just, were always through our network, through the greatest fraternity and the ever known to man, Phi Beta Sigma, with, through networking with my frat brothers and having been a member of 100 Black Men of America, just networking. And so, networking was, to your original question, how did I learn? It was networking and, engaging with the brotherhood and, getting visibility to opportunities. So, that's where I learned about, the opportunity in junk removal. Learned about the opportunity in the restaurant business with, real estate ownership. So, as, we see a great business opportunity, we move forward with it and we make those decisions as a family. My wife and I'm big on generational wealth building. You've talked to my partner. Generational wealth is near and dear to us and really important. The thing I'm most proud about now is, teaching my sons, those principles that I didn't learn as a teenager. So, instilling, an entrepreneurial mindset in my children. So introducing them to real estate, I make my 17-year-old come out with me and evaluate. I make him do the cost benefit analysis on all of my real estate deals. So, and, if he doesn't do it right, he doesn't get allowance. And, so, kind of driving home, the importance of understanding, especially real estate with my children. And that, plays into a lot of what we're doing on our current endeavor, launching our blank banking platform in a couple of months here.
Wow. I'm just kind of blown away. What are you thinking, Taniki, when you hear this type of information?
Oh, I love it. That's exactly up our alley, Seiko. I'm big on generational wealth as well. And when he said his son doesn't get allowances, as a business owner, we pay wages, not allowances. That way the government pays the bill for you. So that's something that I'm huge on. I'm impressed and I love what I'm hearing right now. So I'm excited to learn more.
Good stuff. Well, I'm blown away, man. You and Don are doing some great things. I want to kind of dive in. You use the term REO for the uninitiated. What does REO mean, and what's the significance of REO?
It's the real estate owned department. So banks, when they take back properties, they revert to what's known as the real estate owned department. And that function within a bank works out deals with developers and or realtors to move those properties, and usually at, substantially below market value.
Okay, that makes sense. Good. Speaking of initiated, you're a brother of Phi Beta Sigma. This is Founders Week for the good brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. But we do have something in common, and I wanted to share that with you and with the listeners. This is a picture of me in 1988 with one of the women who helped raise me. This is Fanny Petty Watts. Petty Watts. Yeah, she helped raise me. When I was born, my mother was very sick, and my father was the new minister at a church in Brooklyn, New York. Salute to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not a borough, it's a blood type. So salute to Brooklyn, all right? So, one of the Zeta Phi Beta founders helped raise me. And my mother's a Delta, my father's an Omega. But, it was really great to be raised by one of the sisters of the great Phi Beta Sigma fraternities from Zeta Phi Beta. So I wanted to shout out all the Zetas in the house. Love y'all. And Yeah, salute to the brothers of Phi Beta Sigma.
All right. You know, you always Greek love,
Yeah, and that's Greek letter, not Greek culture. You know, some people get they're like, you guys are celebrating Greek. No, we're not. No, we're not. Well, you using Greek letters. Well, you write your name with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That does not mean that you're celebrating the Phoenicians and all the other cultures that letters kind of developed into the letters that we use today. We just use Greek letters with our organizations, but I know some people won't take that. It's all good. You establish relationships. That's one of the biggest things that you talked about. How did you cultivate the ability to establish relationships?
Well, I was really fortunate, you know, as a high school sophomore, you know, through some of my academic achievements in high school, I was afforded the opportunity to receive mentorship through a program at Columbia University. And I grew up in Harlem, literally 4 blocks from Columbia University. And, you know, through that program, I had a young, recent graduate of Columbia. He was 24 years old. And, you know, he provided me great guidance and coaching and mentoring and insight into some of the things that I would want to do as I, you know, continue to grow personally and ultimately professionally. So that set the foundation. And then when my college scholarship, I went to Clark Atlanta University. And again, he was a Caucasian man, you know, young white man who took and, you know, shared, and, you know, he took me to places. And again, I grew up in Harlem, so he helped me become comfortable. You know, I'd never been around, you know, white people in volume, successful white people in volume. And he helped introduce me to that dynamic. And then my college scholarship was sponsored by President Jimmy Carter. So, and, you know, and then, you know, I was coaching the Ernestine Kodakara, who was the ambassador of the Philippines at the time, was one of my mentors and coaches through college. So understanding politics, you know, having great mentorship that was multicultural helped me become more, you know, comfortable engaging across different cultures. Yeah, I'm from Grant Houses in Harlem. So, you know, and so I literally, and this is something I just had this discussion with my sons, both of my sons yesterday. I'm like, hey, you've got to be versatile. So I'm comfortable engaging with presidents. And, you know, through my mentoring activities, I can go out, you know, again, I'm from the projects, I'm from public housing. I can go and hold court on the block just as well. So I'm comfortable in either environment, at either guardrail, and everywhere in between. So that makes, you know, and again, through a lot of those things I got foundationally. And so, you know, being able to relate and to network and to have a really broad network and being able to relate to people from different backgrounds, whether it's cultural, economic, and whatsoever, has really been, you know, a big driving force in my being able to be successful corporately and entrepreneurially.
Interesting. So
I have a question for you. My program that I business in, we cater to a lot of people as well, as far as low income or different spectrums. But I wanted to ask you, your business partner last week, he was on and he was telling us that you guys offer business credit. And I was so excited. I told a lot of people to hop on it streaming tonight. So could you explain a little more of that program that your company offers, the business credit?
Yeah, so business credit, and, you know, not just for underserved communities like the Black community, business credit, only 10% of business owners across America understand the importance of business credit. You know, President Trump has over 500 LLCs, and you hear how he's left all of these different companies bankrupt, and and he's never had any personal recourse. So our program, what we do, we coach and help people understand how to build credit for their businesses and build, hundreds of thousands and ultimately millions in credit for their business, in which they would have no personal recourse. So, so often, we all, as we, go through, establishing business and building, we have personal attachment to them. And in tough times like we are in right now with COVID, we have so many people that, their personal credit is materially adversely impacted because, their businesses are struggling, and then associated with that is their personal credit. So, with our, credit builder program, we get you credit over a 6-month period. It's coaching. You get access to our portal. You have a personal dashboard. You have our customer service team providing white glove concierge service through the program. We take you through 4 steps. First, the foundational, ensuring that you have all of the things you need to have appropriately set up for your business. And then we take you through 3 different phases of business credit building. That final phase being getting you cash credit, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. And then from there, we teach you and coach you on how to leverage that in your respective business, whether you're in healthcare, real estate. 60% of our clients are in the real estate business. And we, really have a lot that we, can demonstrate and coach around how to optimize leverage of the business credit that you've set foundationally through our program. So, that's something, it's important. I don't care where you are, if you're an entrepreneur and you do business, establishing business credit is something that you absolutely need to do. We do it at a really low cost. We have one of the only full-time customer service teams in that space. Others that do it anywhere near the level that we do it charge 2-3 times what we charge. And we don't charge a lot because we're a bank. We're a mortgage bank. We're a lender at our core. So we do this more foundationally for our clients so that they can be more effective in the other products that we provide. And, it's a relationship that we want to, have and support our folks long term.
Yeah, I'm impressed with it. I'm actually going to be a client very soon on that business credit builder. I've had a chance to look at it. I ran through it. I vetted it against a lot of other programs. And in terms of price, I think it's priced right. It's definitely priced right for this COVID economy that we're in. It's not free, but I see the value in it. And the great thing is I work with a lot of businesses, and to be able to provide them with a service, to be able to establish an easy $50,000 in business credit in about 6 months.
Yep, absolutely. Foundation is locked in 6 months, indeed. Yeah.
All right. And what is the credit score? What's the credit score required to start?
None. So again, there's no attachment of your personal credit. This is all of the credit we establish is tied purely to your EIN and your business. So there's no personal recourse. That's the entire objective is to build that credit purely for your business, where you have no recourse when anything did go wrong, if it ever did.
Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity to get credit that's not tied to your social security number. But the thing about credit is your credit is your credibility, as A. Donahue Baker says. You're a good partner. You're also your Sigma brother. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting.
That's the network. That's the network. Because again, we have I'm usually behind the scenes. Don is with his thousands and thousands of followers, and so I drive strategy and operations, and he's out front, and he's the rainmaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I
All
have,
right.
look, I
Well,
have over 100 people. I have over 100 people on my team. I'm going to be sending your way because I know they're very much interested in business credit.
Great. Now we'd be excited to support their growth and evolution of their businesses.
well, look. Before we continue with the business credit piece, I want to learn about your entree in the check cashing business. Now, I've always thought that check cashing companies were evil.
Uh-huh.
And I used to tell people those places are evil, but you own multiple evil establishments. And I'm joking. I know it's not truly evil. You
Mhm.
know, you get what you sign up for. But tell us how you got involved with owning multiple check
Yes.
cashing organizations.
So that was something that it was a great business opportunity. I had the opportunity to my wife and I to own the real estate attached to the businesses, and it was a really profitable business. Now, in the evolution of financial services, where things are going paperless and checkless, it's not as voluminous as it was when we went into the business 15 years ago. But my introduction, to the business was, talking to a friend of mine that was in the real estate business, and he shared it. It's some of the what the opportunity was, and for us, I never knew of that was something. Again, Black people, and all. I grew up in Harlem. There's a check cashing location on every other street. And I grew up in the heart of Harlem. I'm from 125th Street and Broadway in Harlem. And so, you stroll across 125th Street from Broadway to First Avenue, you probably pass 30 of them. And it's, to your point, it's a business that we want to move our people out of, because, that is for folks that are not banked and, don't have access, though they don't understand credit, and they don't have access to financial services that are more befitting anyone. And so that's a part of our growth, and where we're moving toward banking, financial services, and now banking, where it's my some of the features of our banking product are designed specifically to empower our folks and move them, away from check cashing, away from payday lending, away from pawn shops. And, that's just again, aligned around, evolution as a business, and being now in position, to move from the business opportunity that was check cashing to, the impactful, growing to the point of being able to have an impact in moving folks that are unbanked today and give them access to things that they normally wouldn't have had access to.
What are some other things that help provide access to the quote unquote unbanked in our communities?
So, for instance, Blacks and then Hispanics, our Hispanic brothers, and 52% of Hispanic households today are unbanked. And so, that means if you don't have a bank, so you pay everything, you have to go to a check cashing location to, pay your bills, to get money orders, to, send money to family members through Western Union, those types of things. Those are the things that unbanked have to go through. And there are substantial fees associated with that. And now when you have access to a bank, and that's, one of the things in our banking platform, there's no minimum balance requirement. So, if you bank with, Bank of America, Wells Fargo today, they have, minimum, if you don't have at least $1,000 or more, they're charging you $25 a month. If you, have a check that, may go over $3, they're going to charge you $35 for an overdraft fee. So again, think about it: $3 overdraft, and they're charging you $35. So they would have, literally charged you 1,000% interest, and you have to execute, remediate with them within a week. So those are the things that now making someone that's currently uses those services to not have to use those, to have a debit card, not have minimum requirements, be able to get an advance, cash advance at no cost, be able to have up to $250 overdraft protection at no cost. Those are the things that we have, some of the features of our bank that are literally designed to make make folks that are in the check cashing and payday lending space prominently today comfortably move away from that. And then we have tools. We have a generational account where parents can teach their children 13 to 17 money management, and have a platform and budgeting tools within the bank to teach, and again, help grow and educate our people and drive and grow the culture, again, both Black, Hispanic, and other underserved communities.
Man, I'm really impressed with that. The fact that you have done the pivot from check cashing establishments, which it looks like they're still profitable, to owning a bank. Now, the idea of me or you owning a bank, I have to admit, I know it's historically, it can go back until emancipation, where you had the Freedmen's Bank, and Frederick Douglass was one of the people who was in charge of the Freedmen's Bank, even though the federal government really set it up for failure. But it's not as common. It's just not as common. So to see that you are in a position to own a bank really just kind of blows me away. It really kind of blows me away and says that there's greater things that can be done. And one of the ways that you did it is by networking, establishing relationships, but you also worked with Fortune 500 companies, and you got a chance to learn some of their processes, their strategies. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from working with the with those big money corporations?
Well, they were really important for me, and especially now in owning, our company, Money Avenue. We're number 199 on the Inc. 5000. We're the 9th fastest growing fintech company in America. But a lot of what we do are, and again, I drive, operations and strategy. I started my career, I was recruited by Prudential Financial fresh out of Clark Atlanta University. I was in a management rotation program. So my time at Prudential, I was in human resources, I was in management, internal control, I was in IT program management. My last role, I was director of corporate governance. And so that kind of foundation, and then, going on to Mellon Bank, where I was in managed services, and then Dell, where, I ran the global enterprise IT services business, and, helped build that business from scratch, which was a, $2 billion company. So again, understanding the tools, the processes, I have so many corporate, I've done, Scrum Master, PMP, PMI. I have.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Slow down. Scrum Master. That kind of reminds me of something from the Jungle Brothers.
Yeah.
We had the prop master.
Yeah.
We had the prop master, and so you were Scrum Master. Tell us about that and the PMP, because I wanted to put it
those are project management certifications.
Right.
Learning how to manage projects. PMP started kind of from a waterfall management standpoint, and then Scrum Masters, it's software project management, doing things in parallel at high security. And again, those are on that front, right? But then early I had I was a chartered financial consultant, a chartered life underwriter. I currently hold I'm on the HR side. I'm currently a senior certified professional with the Society for Human Resource Management. So, as I've grown in corporate through different functions, be the best at whatever you do functionally. But it's rounded me out. So, I understand human resources and organizational development. I've been in the financial services space, so I understand financial consulting. I understand underwriting. I understand, all of those different elements of whatever my experiences are and the functions that I've led. And so I've taken all of those learnings in, 25 years plus of, leading, large corporate organizations and entities at an executive level, and been able to bring those and apply those principles to, to what we do in our business. And that's helped us and our growth to be able to grow in an accelerated fashion.
Wow. Acceleration. I think that's definitely a key term, because I tell you, you do more than staying awake. It looks like you're constantly moving up in responsibility. You're embracing responsibility. You're embracing a pivotal climb up all the time, and you're embracing education.
Absolutely.
Wow. So, I mean, with
continuous
all that
learning and continuous improvement, whatever you do in life, you've got to seek to learn and seek to improve. And those things, if you hold those two principles, everything else works itself out. It's like my grandfather used to say, hey, the harder we work, the luckier we get. And, right. When you set that around a foundation of learning and improvement, it all comes together.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. And so I want to take this moment to thank some of our sponsors who provided the change to pay for this show. All right. So at this point, I'm going to hold this up. It's an empty bottle. It's empty. It's an empty bottle of Guidance whiskey, an empty bottle of Guidance whiskey. And I tell you, Guidance whiskey has a great taste to it. So if you're a drinker, I don't drink too often, but as you can see, the bottle's empty. Stop by guidancewhiskey.com. That's guidancewhiskey.com. I also want to say that common sense for you. This summer, I was outside and this bug off oil kept all the mosquitoes away from me. Oh man. So go to commonsenseforyou.com, Common Sense for You, and you can purchase. I'm going to put those in the show notes as well. You can grab some great materials that will ensure that everything goes very well with you. They have soaps. They have a lot of different things. Soaps. Let me go through theirs very quickly, as well as taking a quick break. So, body brushes, oils, soaps, magnesium body cream. Wow, as you can see, I really like their lavender sugar scrub cubes. I have a few of those, and it's really, gives you that nice cream and clean feeling. And their Common Sense tooth powder, that's a winner. That's definitely a winner. So you can, I'll have their information in the show notes, but you want to look for Common Sense for You, and they have some great things for you. All right. So, Will, tell us a little bit about your time in the restaurant business and how your experiences in the restaurant business has you going to opening a bank. Because it just seems like two different things to me.
Of all of the businesses, the restaurant business was really interesting because, we went into that business on an opportunity of all of the entities. I mean, I've touched on, the restaurant business is the one, if I could take it back, but we would. But that was a great experience because, you know, you learn, you know, some of those, you know, dynamics that, you know, all that it glitters isn't gold. And, you know, the restaurant business is a really tough dynamic. Whereas, you know, other businesses I've had and that we've done, we were able to be really effective absentee. The restaurant business as an absentee owner, and the dynamic that we were managing it was a learning experience because, you know, if you're going to be in that business, doing it absentee is something that is an extreme challenge and something that, you know, I've got asked that question, you know, 500 times since we went into that space. And, you know, we've got another location that's, you know, set to open, but, you know, as soon as we can get out of it, we certainly will. But you know, the restaurant business of all of the entities, it was a learning experience, and you know, especially being absenteeism as an owner. You know, being, you know, kind of, when I say absenteeism, if you have other businesses and, you know, restaurant is something you're doing kind of at a cursory level, you know, it's going to be even more challenging. And just imagine right now, you see what our folks that are in that business are going through right now. And if you were not in it full time, focused, then, you know, your doors are probably certainly already closed. So that's the you know, 50,000-foot Cliff Notes version of, you know, my perspective around the restaurant business.
What type of restaurant business did you own? What
We
type
had
of food?
a sports bar chain, a franchise sports bar chain, and we planned on doing, you know, development all along the eastern U.S., basically from the Northeast, from Boston to Maryland. We had 5 locations. We have sold out of all but one, and we've got another that's going to be opening sometime in the first quarter of 2021. But yeah, it was a sports bar chain that we rebranded. Originally, we were a sports bar chain, but we rebranded and you know, set out as an individual units.
All right, great. Taniki, tell us a little about what you do, and let's see how people who receive your services can then connect with Will and receive his services.
Well, I'm in the financial education business as well. I'm an independent rep or consultant with a company called My Econ. And what we do is teach people how to take control of their own economy. We teach people 5 strategies that everyone can use. Minimizing your taxes, correcting your W-4 so that you can take the money, and we teach you a process called income shifting after you correct your W-4 and see an increase on your paycheck because you're no longer giving free money to the government. You will see an increase on your paycheck, and then we teach you how to shift that and eliminate your debt, build an emergency fund. We also teach you as business owners how to build good business income and also minimize your tax, because a lot of business owners do not keep good records. So we teach you how to keep good records. We provide you with a system that's audit proof, where that you can track all of your personal business expenses, money management. We teach you how to, like I said, minimize your taxes, show you how what number 45 did, write off everything so that the government pays the bill as a business owner. We teach you how to also repair your own credit. We make you expert. Instead of the credit expert, we provide you with the tools, the blueprint, the strategies,
Okay.
From A to Z, how to repair, build, and maintain a 750 plus credit score, so that when you are at that point, you can go see someone like Will and get you some good business credit.
All right.
We also teach you investment education, so we try to cover everything.
Good stuff. We're having a lot of trouble with your stream, Taniki. So we'll leave you a chance to get your stream together. But so let's say somebody gets their credit together using Taniki's My Econ system. So what can that person then do in business? Now you said earlier they didn't need to have a great personal credit score, but will having a good personal credit score help them in some of the services that your bank will provide other than just the business credit piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So, great credit gets you great access, right? So there's literally no limit to what would be available uh, to anyone with, that goes through Taniki's program and gets their credit set to come engage with us. So, there's 20 different things I could think of, and rattle off, but it literally is an unlimited opportunity if you've got strong credit, whatever your business is, whatever industry. We can support you in meeting your goals and objectives, and even help you, get those things strategized, kind of a crawl, walk, run plan to your ultimate goals based on where you are in your credit profile.
Okay. Now I know that you had a junk removal company, and I say the junk removal company is kind of intriguing. I help people with funding. I help people to obtain funding for real estate investments. That's something I do with Money Ave and with 4 other firms that I represent. In this case, I was able to provide this person with 90% acquisition and 100% of the rehab costs. He bought it at 33, needed 58,000 in repairs. It's, oh man, I'm telling you, he's making not literally a killing. He's making a nice profit off of that particular situation. But one of the things he had to do is remove a lot of junk out of that property. So I hadn't even thought about that. There's a big amount of profit to be made in junk removal. Tell us about your entree and possibly departure in the junk removal business.
Yeah, so we had a franchise. We owned the Bronx, New York territory, and for 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You may see it. It's a they've been growing, and again, I was doing that with one of my childhood friends that I grew up with in Harlem. We'd always wanted to do business together. He owned a moving company, and I was introduced to the opportunity. He owned a moving company based in the Bronx, and we looked at the opportunity, flew out to Vancouver in Canada to review the business opportunity, meet the leadership of the franchise. We went forward, made some great money. And then as again, we hit critical mass where we were either gonna grow or sell, and we decided to sell. We had the business about 2.5 years and sold at a great profit in a short window of time. We took it, from nothing, built it, established that equity in a great territory, and turned that over almost like a fix and flip in real estate. We flipped the business, we built it and flipped it for a great profit.
Now, how challenging is that? Most of us, when we get into business, we're super passionate about something that we're in. How hard is it to build something up, to grow up a child, and then send it off in the world to be managed by somebody else?
That actually, that's kind of, for me and my partners in a number of different businesses that we're in. That's especially as, we get older, we build it and sell is the thing, right? I mean, there's several folks that literally their business is starting businesses, building them and selling them at exponentially higher numbers than it took them to build it. And that's kind of where I am in my kind of entrepreneurial mindset is, I'm no spring chicken. I'm doing things that, like banking and community empowerment is my passion. And I do that through my work with 100 Black men in my fraternity, and, continue to do that and want to have purposeful impact in what we do in business, the finance business. So that we will have and grow and focus on. But when we see business opportunity, the opportunity is going to be, one of the first things we always look at is what's the exit strategy. And so we look at the opportunity, and it kind of gets to a go, no go. And that go, no go is, are we going to, take this, to the next level? Or are we going to, exit, cash out, and start the next thing? Like even with our bank, we have it, just high level, our business plan, when we hit the 100 million valuation, it's okay. Do we, cash out? It's either we're going to cash out at 100 million, or we're going to take it to $1 billion. And you have to go into it with that plan and that go, no go. And, always ask yourself, what's the exit? And that's kind of the entrepreneurial mindset that I work toward right now.
Wow. So I'm seeing education, experience, networking, taking opportunities, always climbing for the next ladder, and having an exit strategy is some of the jewels that you've kind of shared with us today. Let's kind of round out and bring this home. What are some of the last things you'd like to share with the viewers of this Melanated Wealth series? I know you wanted to talk, and you talked about Money Ave, but what else?
It's just, build, seek to learn, seek to grow, and seek to have impact in any and everything that you do. And in business, and personally, personal credit and business credit are critical. So whether you're doing, working on your personal credit with Taniki, or, engaging in building your business credit with Money Avenue or any other entity, those things are critical and foundational for you to reach your goals. So the thing I would say is, focus on growth, focus on continuing to grow and evolve, and understand the things that are going to be important foundationally for you to do that. Because you can have the greatest idea and the most skills in the world, but if your credit isn't right, or you don't have a business plan, or you don't have a strong network that you can engage to get honest feedback on where you are and where you're going, you're going to stay stuck. And you want to you can be running fast, but if you're on the treadmill and not on the track, you're not going to go anywhere.
Wow. Okay, good stuff. Taniki, your last question. Unmute yourself.
Just is there an upfront fee that must be paid in order to apply for your business credit?
Yeah. So
or does that come out of the back end?
No, the business credit is a one-time fee of $2,795. And again, in the grand scheme, at the end of 6 months, you're going to have at least $50,000 in aggregate business credit available to you. So you're investing $2,795. At 6 months, you're going to have 50. And with all of the tools and engagement we're going to give you beyond that foundation, you'll be able to do some of those things that 45 has done and others, to leverage that business credit to, springboard yourself without having any challenges. And then
Wow.
I see you got here, our personal loans program. It's, personal loans, instead of going and building up debt on credit cards, we offer directly on our website. In a minute, you'll get up to 10 different offers to choose from for personal loans. So, if you have a home repair, or you just need to go get some things done for the holiday season, look at, we get you 1, 3, 5-year terms as low as 7.9% versus, paying, 23, 25% APR on a credit card. So that's another product we have available. That's right on our website. It's touchless, it's frictionless. You can go in and, literally, and it takes you less than a minute to zip through it, and there's no obligation, but you can see you're going to have up to 10 different offers to choose from on the personal loans. We'll come back another time and talk another important dynamic in our community that we're underserved is life insurance. Life insurance, especially with COVID, is up in America 520%. It's, again, it's an acute issue in America, but in underserved, Black and Latino communities, it's even more challenging. It doesn't cost much. I mean, you can get, $1 million term policy for 10 years for, you'll be stunned at how the low amount these things are available. And that, again, keeps generational wealth going. Again, I grew up, and I talk about, I grew up, I'm still in touch with people I grew up with in grand houses, and I can't tell you how many times a year I get called, hey, with such and such, we need $100 or $200 for a burial. You know what I mean? And again, if we just take the focus and spend $20 a month for a $20,000 policy, those things are available. So we're making those things available to our folks. Again, on our website, the insurance is there. Seiko, you'll be able to make all of those things available. And again, we need to educate and empower and give all of these foundational wealth management and wealth building tools available to our folks. And we're trying to make this as simple of a process as possible for our folks, and again, to make a difference.
Wow, I'm impressed. You own a bank. You owned check cashing companies, and now you're owning a bank. You're providing opportunities for us to get money, and it's kind of FUBU. It's for us, by us. It's actually for everybody, by us, for everybody. So it's FIBU.
yeah.
It's FIBU, just like the guidance whiskey. It's FIBU. Just like the bug off is FIBU. And we want everyone who is watching to work on ways to improve your business standing, your financial situation, to improve generational wealth. Brother Mingo, man, we thank you for coming on the Fly Guy Show. Get on code, the Fly Guy Show. Queen Taniki, always good to have you on the building. I'm always learning from you. Good to have you. Hip hop salute. Salute again to the Sigmas, man.
All right. My Omega brother.
Yeah, I can't front. You put money in my pocket. All right, so we just want to go out and say thank you for watching.
Thank you both for empowering our community. Both.
Good stuff. Thanks. Good stuff. All right. Well, with that being said, I just want to highlight one last company on our way out of here. So thank you, peace, and prosperity. tallyandtwine.com. Yes, that's tallyandtwine.com, where you can find beautiful watches for men and for women, made here in the United States, made here in the great state of Virginia, made in Portsmouth, Virginia. That's right, made in America, made in Virginia, and made in Portsmouth. tallyandtwine.com. Great watches for the men. Look at these beautiful watches. Aren't they nice, masculine, really attractive? And these sexy watches for our beautiful ladies. tallyandtwine.com. This is my favorite watch. This is the watch I personally own. tallyandtwine.com, made in Virginia, made in America. It's time for you to get a high quality watch from Tally and Twine. Yes, yes. Here's my Tally and Twine. It's a lovely watch. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting services. We do credit fixes. We do tax resolution. We lend private money and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, we're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated. Take care.